This is your weekend market recap for Saturday, July 16th, 2022. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your weekend market recap for Saturday, July 23rd, 2022. Let's get into it. Amazing week, great week. A lot of people hate OPEX. Typically can be a little frustrating, but if you understand how it works and the alignment is correct, there are usually some really good trading opportunities. If you were following the channel, I know you took advantage of such. High five, golf clap, nice work. Let's keep up the good momentum. Again, I like to always start off by saying, this channel, this board, everything I do is more geared to traders who have been in the market for 1 to 3 years minimum and have an experience but aren't consistent. The key to trading ultimately is your edge and your consistency. A lot of that usually lays the foundation for your success. And if you have a ton of knowledge but you can't seem to execute, that's where I think the guidance of myself in this room really can help people out. Not trying to sell anyone on anything ultimately though, because as I was told, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That's the kind of stuff that we're looking for. So if you need any help and you are interested, link is in the description of the video. Let's get into it. Discord room, keep in mind, ton of things going on, side channels, daily recaps, back to basic videos, reading, recommended reading, volume price analysis, Livermore stuff. Trying to create a really good foundational side chat rooms with tons of videos, tons of insights. Again, if you are newer to trading and you stop by the Discord room, this is where you should probably hang out for a couple weeks before you really even ask any general questions, because you don't know what you don't know. Bitcoin. Let's do it. Said it's got to hold, and looks like we are holding this area in the 18 to 20,000 range. I warn people, break the trend line, you can go higher. If not, it probably here, this is what I mean, like break the trend line kind of confirmation. It's really funny how this all plays out sometimes. Once you can do such, it should go higher. And I know this might be the simplest type of thought process, but here's how I take advantage of this kind of situation. We've seen this repeating pattern, right? Chop, chop, chop for a pop. You don't know anything for certain. And this is where, again, sometimes that edge that I have, that we've developed, is because we don't assume certainty. We know we can be wrong. So if you buy Bitcoin anywhere under, say, whatever, 20,000, you have to leave if the lows are taken out, because if it turns into a pop and flop, you got to go. You just have to go, because we don't know the lows, because you can always rebuy. But if it plays out like this, here we get a chance to rebuy, and then it goes. Everybody who's over trading this and trying to day trade a tight consolidation pattern, play the extremes or wait for the breakout. I personally, since I'm not playing the extremes up and down, I'll wait for the breakout. And again, I'm not even going to trade it, because I don't trade crypto, but that's how I would trade it. I mean, it's very technical. People don't realize that. Holds levels, sets traps. It's no different than stock. Oil. All right, looks like Uncle Joe is trying to negotiate some deals in Saudis. I think they're going to pump an extra 1 million or so barrels a day. Whatever, who cares? Ultimately, I think long term, oil will go significantly higher. Near term, I've said this every video, I think you will see a $60 or $70 handle on oil at some point. Not now, not necessarily soon. It's hard to say. If you study the past, which we are literally, that is the goal, is to know the past, because everything's repeating. In 2008, you had the same headline. It literally was in June of 2008. Look what happened. Shortly after, wham, pumped extra supply, go into recession. Here's the other bear market in stocks, but look what oil did. And this is what I've been saying to folks. I'm with you. I believe in oil long term. Name shit, materials, whatever, the whole commodity sector. But even in the bear markets, any bear market's going to take down oil. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going back to zero. It'll probably hold, and this is where if you look at the ranges, it's pretty clear. Like this area somewhere where this yellow box meets this blue box, that's going to happen at some point. And then what? Then the bull market in commodities starts. Again, you can't have a bull market of an individual name or sector if the market overall is getting murdered. Like it just doesn't work like that, because when selling pressure takes on margin calls, again, if you understand how the finance world work, and maybe this is a difference between most and others, and I know how it works. If you have a margin, say you're an institution and you need to leverage, sell stuff, you're getting margin called, you're losing, you sell your winners as well. You have to raise capital. Say you're having redemptions, you're a hedge fund, you sell your winners. Like nothing is immune. Some things just go down less. TLT. Said this a bunch, man. I tried to warn you guys. CPI data was backward looking. Inflation is temporarily peaking. The rate of inflation. Not saying inflation is going to negative or zero. The rate of increase from say 3 to 4 to 8 to 9% CPI is peaked. It's pretty obvious. Oil's down 20%. Copper's down big. Wheat's down big. Lumber's down. All the inputs have dropped, right? Deflation near term. That's why we're long bonds. Again, it's a nice little part of our portfolio. Looks like a head and shoulders bottom. Here's your shoulder. We talked about this once it held the 20-day. That was our last ad. And everyone was like, oh, it's gapping down. It's done. I'm like, it's probably a novice gap. Again, TLT has a lot of gaps. And there we go. Next target, get over 117s, coming to the 120 range. We have our blue box of upside minimum. How high actually could it ultimately go? This is where it gets a little harder. Let's pull up the weekly because I'm going to do a little draw on the fly. That sounded really stupid, actually. Scratch that from the videotape, editors. They won't. It's me editing it. I'll forget. Here you go. Again, somewhere in the 120s. 120s, maybe 133. That to me would be the max upside. Because again, I still think interest rates are going higher. The Fed's interbank lending rates will be going up. It causes constraints in the banking system lending wise to hopefully stop inflation, but I think we all know that the cat's out of the bag. I mean, inflation is here to stay. I mean, there's just bottlenecks, shortages, those kind of things do not get fixed by interest rate policy. A recession can lower the demand, but it doesn't stop the shortages. It just doesn't. I mean, it's just people need food, need gas, need all this stuff until you start actually developing more of it. And that's where the lack of investment leads to a bull market in commodities. Think about it. If people underinvest in commodities for the last 10 years because they invested in technology, well, what happens after the bear market? Well, people are going to invest back in what? Commodities, because they've overbuilt tech. I mean, that's why the tech war video I did is just, it's very logical how this all plays out. It's just when, how, what time frames. Dollar. Here's again another thing why I think the market is bullish. What have we said? This is going up. I've been like the only person who just constantly says, please don't short the dollar. It's not there yet. The dollar will peak when it blows out upwards. Think about it. Like when you think peak dollar, think of any peak in any commodity or stock. Let's think about peak Tesla. Peak Tesla isn't some sort of modest move and chop. It's a blowout higher. We are in the blowout phase of the dollar. If you think the dollar is not going to be the supreme currency that it once was, it usually ends with what? A fireworks show. Straight up blowout. Now, dollar near term, we said this. We're into this resistance. You see it on the monthly, right? Monthly. Again, market has memory. People remember this. This is basically euro parity and a bunch of other currencies at certain levels that the market seems to have sold many times. It's going to do it. So what happens is it backs off first, probably goes higher later. It's just that simple. The VIX. Nobody's been calling for a lower VIX except for us. Why? Repeating patterns. Quarterly patterns, bear market, rally patterns. What happens? Spike. And now this is where it gets a little interesting here. Is like you're going to come down into the low end of range. But the seasonality of May and June is not as bullish as July. We got earnings, you got a lot of things. And now that you got oil production increased, you have CPI peaking. It seems very logical. Also, too, sentiment is absolutely bearish as the market's making higher lows. Red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert. That tells you there's probably a squeeze coming, a big squeeze. And then you have the CHIPS Act. Again, long term bear market, near term bull market, or pop, whatever. You have to understand a bear market literally is a trading market. It's just a highly volatile market. You have to be on your toes. And I've said this a billion times. I think we get back 22 minimum. I would even say we get down in the 19, 20 range. Anyway, something like where the March action was, because that was the last, remember, squeeze. Remember? So how's that a play into the SPY? Now here we go. We talked about this. Dan, how did you see the bottom? Well, how are bottoms usually formed? Accelerated move, big gaps. Because again, think about these gaps, how very emotional they are. Like these are like get me the freak out of the market gaps. These aren't like the slow build and drop. This is the sheer panic. Again, what's interesting was we weren't able to identify immediately with the VIX spiking, but what did we notice at the lows? Well, you're at some support. Again, support equals resistance. You broke out of the channel. Then we noticed this little pro gap. And I'm like, that's interesting, because the last time you saw pro gap was this. You got your retest, but then think about ultimately how it all played out. You got like pro gaps, backfill, double tap. So here's your extreme, and here's your double tap. Here's your double tap. Do you see how this is just recurring patterns? The psychology is probably very similar, so hence the similar action. We're going higher. Now, how high? You don't know. You sell more the more you're up. It's really that simple. And the more we rise, the less I want to own. I don't believe a bull market starting. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to be, because that's what it's going to feel like. Sentiment is going to say what? Everything's back to normal. Everything's going to be fine. We know it's not. Long term, everything is not fine. So how does that play out psychologically? How you're going to trade it? Very clear. As soon as retail, who's incredibly bearish, turns bullish because they've gotten squeezed out and it's gone higher, probably some sort of CHIPS Act, some sort of, I don't know, China deal, who knows what the actual deal or news is. Something that draws people in, red flag, time to start liquidating. Because again, think about it, what the market maker is. It's a liquidity seeker. Think like Livermore. The operators need liquidity. They were able to buy cheap, volume expansion. They will want to sell on the pops. And here you go. Here's that pop. Gone. What news? Who knows? QQQ, same thing. We're going into earnings. Notice tech. We're going to do a little more tech review today because it's bullish. And we laid off of commodities. I still think commodities are strong long term. Near term, I have no clue. Here we go. Sloppy, choppy bottom. Double tap. Double tap. Right? Like just a multiple bottom. And people are saying, your logic is off. Okay. We continue to say you buy the dip. Remember, who likes deflation? Lower rates? Technology. Remember, commodities do better in inflationary times. Remember that. And now again, I'm not saying we're going to deflation, but the bond market is pricing in what? A lower rate of inflation. That's all you need to really think about. Like, don't make this stuff too hard. Where's the bounce? 330 to 315. Again, that's a wide range, but if you're buying down here in the 270s, like we have, 280s, I'm not good. You shouldn't be complaining. I imagine everyone else will be losing. You're doing well. IWM said it bottoms first. Here you go. Like it topped first in November. Like it bottomed first here in February before. This is what's crazy is like this thing can proceed, is really good at preceding the markets. Like look at the SPY bottom in March. Note, and okay, it didn't make a new low, obviously, so it could just kept going to lower lows. But look what the IWM did. Hello, here's your first bottom, retest, spring up. Now, how high can IWM go? I think it's going to lag, but if history repeats, what is it? It's the 100-day. Hey there, hello. Hopefully this is, take notes. This should be simple stuff. Again, I always say this, and you should be saying this more. If you know someone who needs this kind of help in simplicity and understanding the markets, please share this, like this. Again, I want the people who are the students when the teachers, when the teachers there and the students are ready, it will pop up. Like this will be stuff they need because a lot of people just, again, all the social media, I feel like marketers became traders because the market got easy and it was like, buy stocks, buy meme stocks. Trading ain't easy, guys. Gals, it's just not. And those idiots are going to all murder their followers. My followers should be making money because I'm trading it. I don't ask for anything other than your love and support. If I'm doing you right, that's all it is. Support the channel. That's all I'm asking. Help others. Literally, help others who come into the Discord room. Gold, we said it's bottomed. Now, I would like to see higher volume, but what do we notice? Novice gap after a big down move. Where are we at on the monthly? We're at the 0.382, and you're at the box top. I called this in March, and nobody saw this coming. Or sorry, April. Nobody. Watch it. 420, I have a video. Talked about how this peak pro gap was done. Bounce. Nope. I mean, I literally have it still drawn here. I just thought it'd be a double bottom. Now you probably can, you know, it's probably funny. Let's just do this. It's probably going to look like this. Something like that. Anyway, bounce. Again, I like gold, not now. I do believe it's going to bounce. It's just, are there better trades? If you are a commodities person, you have to play it. Here you go. Remember, if the market's rising, who should do better? Silver bills. Big gap down, exhaustion. I know the volume's not great. Again, I will trade this, but to invest in it, the best time, buy silver physical. Let's bottom line that. Best time to buy this is the wipeout. Wipeout. This was the COVID wipeout. Here was the 2008, 2009, and then rip. We are in the process of some sort of wipeout-ish. I still think it will be worse. It'll be just less worse now. Because here you go. Here's July of 2008. July of 2008 should be what? Probably a bounce. Repeating patterns, y'all. Study the past. I say this all the time. Everyone loves to stare at the computer all day and think they're going to gain something from watching the present. You gain nothing. The past is where all of your answers are. Think of this as like literally a library of unlimited data, but you're staring at the future trying to predict it when the past is just always repeating. Tell that to people all the time. They're like, I watch the chart all day. I get a little bit of experience trading. I'm like, no, you don't know anything because you don't know the past. You only know as much as you know from this point in which you're watching. If you want to get 20 years of experience, study the past. You'll get it quickly. You want to trade for 1 year and only know the 1 year you've traded? That's stupid. That maybe not stupid. It's just mean. It's wrong. It's like being you're not going to learn everything about the market in 1 year. You need to know how the markets act over time. Time. It's your friend or it's your foe. You choose it. GDX called the bottom, said novice gap, doji, higher volume. Everyone said, hey, you gotta buy. Nah, I'm gonna wait because it's usually the Tuesday post OPEX. Again, here are little things I know about the market that nobody knows because I study this stuff. I know that what gold does is, or GDX, if it is bottoming, it's usually, let's go back to the last summer, it's usually post OPEX. No way. Yep. Yep. That's right. July. Here you go. And again, these are all different times. You have to look at, I'm trying to think of like an extreme. Here you go. The OPEX of December came back one more time. You have to remember, this stuff can be choppy. I preferably at this point though, again, because I don't really have any evidence right off the top of my head. I have to like go back and look, not just this year or last year. That is what I've always noticed because there's usually a futures rollover as well in the metals on OPEXs the following week. So typically, not always, the miners should pop first, but gold and silver a little later. I personally think you're at the point where it's time to go up. How much? I don't know. We'll see. It's one of those things where if gold holds so flat that it makes me get in, like if it pulls this kind of crap and just chops and gives you unlimited opportunities, I'll probably take it. I just don't want to be early on this stuff because I know it typically likes to get a little sloppy. I don't think there is a big move. I think it's more of this kind of crap. Unfortunately, here we are, July, August, later, then October, bottom, retest in December. I mean, the repeating pattern is pretty logical. Again, people will not be buying gold and silver as a hedge for inflation until when? The markets settle down and inflation anchors in and the markets rise with inflation. It's very similar to the 70s and 80s, very similar to 2000s. That's what we're waiting for the real big move. Now, again, you can trade it. I just think there's better opportunities. That's all. GDXJ, again, doji, gap, big move. Will it be bottom? It's looking like not because it's OPEX. This was, if I remember right, the OPEX was in here. Bottom before it. Why? I don't know. Sometimes, again, once I stop following a sector, I don't pay attention to it because I can't follow my trades and gold, or oil and gold. Or does that make sense? Like your own attention is only to so many things. Like I don't pay attention to the charts as much as I should when I'm not in them. It doesn't make sense. I have to stick to what I'm watching. Get into the rest of the miners. AG. You have a bottoming process. Look at the volume. You have a double bottom. Think it rises 8 or 9. Let's run through these quick. Again, I believe they'll bounce. I just believe the big move isn't started. Here you go, Doji chop. Again, I want to see a freaking wipeout. These aren't wipeouts. These are more of a price correction without a wipeout. So, I don't know, up to 45, 6, 10, 48. I don't know, whatever. NFGC. Doji, same thing. That's more of a wipeout, but you went lower, so you have like these signals of bottoming. This is what's so hard sometimes. Bottom is just, people are like, oh, it's bottoming at this price. It's like, look, my box is right there, and it missed it by a penny or two. Didn't buy it, whatever. We'll be there someday. I'll own you. I'll own probably a lot of you, probably thousands of shares in my IRA. PAAS. Here we go. Bottom. Pretty wild. But I think one of the factors that looks very... See, this is what I wonder if it's going to be like this. Just this bounce. You got, what, 3 days? 23 to 26. It might be just that short-lived because you don't have the wipeout. See how the volume increased? Yeah. I hate to say this, metals and miners, friends. There's a trade, but just don't marry it. Please, 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 please. I don't think we're going up for the long term. That seems obvious. Letter X. So what do we know that's coming up? Keep in mind, it is earnings season next week. Typically bullish. These names have flatlined. I just worry Uncle Joe is going to remove the China tariffs, and then all of a sudden steel gets dumped on our soil. Like it down here. I mean, we've traded this. You guys know we've done really well. Leaving it alone. VALE. That to me looks like a novice gap. And look at the reaction. You got like a lower low, but then got back into the bar. That looks bullish to me. Near term, I think you got a few. Puntos, Nucor, acting really well. Remember, they had great guidance a couple weeks ago. I guess the market doesn't really care. I've thought, again, but you're over the 20-day now. So now you got something here. I mean, clearly a lot of green buying down here. Doesn't look like selling. Look at these formations. And again, sometimes we don't look at the color, but we look at the close. Close out the highs and dojis. Those are indecision and buys. So I'd say at this point, 120 looks. I mean, that's 10%. No one can be mad at that. CCJ. Oh, you got to buy uranium. Gap up, FOP. Again, I like it here. I think it's going to bounce. I just still think in time you will get 16 to 18 level. People don't want to hear that, but they're just like, you're crazy. Okay, Arrow. Remember, copper got slammed at the channel low. I don't know. Just don't. Again, these are too hard of decisions. I don't want things to be so unclear that I can't see them, because if I can't see them, everyone else in the market can't either. This to me looks like a choppy bottom. You are at our channel. It seems to be holding. It seems to matter. Should bounce soon. CF. I've sworn this in other videos. Something is going on here. Because look at this. You have this like anomaly here. You have a big wipeout. And then the following day, you have a small candle with big volume. It's clearly holding. You got a floor here at 80. If you bought it at 80, maybe it's about to get bought out. Maybe someone's going to buy it. We'll see. All right, let's get into tech, because tech and financials now have really become the focus of things near term. Not saying that ultimately we're buying these and holding for the long run. Please don't mince words. AMD. Let's do this. What did we say? Your low was the range. Why would you short it and then start cover your full position down here? Well, we hit my target. Now, my target is not in an exact number, but it was this range. Look what's happening. Support equals resistance. Look at all the volume here, the volume at price. There's buyers down here. And guess what? You're back over the 20-day. At worst, you're getting, I mean, I've said this, 90, 95, maybe the 100-day. Enjoy. SMH. How about them apples? We told you the breakdown of the channel going, and then all of a sudden, over that weekend, Mitch McConnell tweets at Nancy, "We are not going to pass a bill with all of this other junk. Please send us a Clean Chips Act." Her response was, "Go fuck yourself." But actually, her real response was, "Hold on, Mitch. Let me make a phone call to my broker. It's time to buy stock." I don't know if you guys saw it this weekend, but she announced she had, I don't know, what, 5 million in stock and a couple million in options. How funny is that? These guys act like they hate each other, but when it comes to spending yours money and my money, no problemo. Let's get rich off it. Let's make sure we what? Let's get some money in the market before we pass this bill, guys. Everybody in Congress is like, "Hey, time to buy semiconductors." Oh, hold on. Let's trash it. Let's tell everyone to sell it first. Got it. Now they buy it. Here you go. Volume is light. Oh my God. Bear market rallies typically are on light volume. Sometimes they get heavy. Again, what do you do with semis? You wait until the CHIPS Act. People are like, when are you going to sell? Well, when's the CHIPS Act going to come out? Because then that's going to be advertisement to sell. Because guess what? The market maker needs liquidity. They're not going to unload until when? Buy the rumor. Sell the news. Repeat. Buy the rumor. Sell the news. How high does that mean it goes? I've said 50-day. I said channel. I've said 100-day. The 0.382. I don't know. But your core position does not get sold until that day. You want to trade around it like we have been, buying dips, selling little pops? Absolutely. But please do not sell your core position. Let's, someone had some requests. Let's do Qualcomm. Very familiar with. Wonder if we still have drawings on this. Yes, here you go. Nice double bottom, breaking over the 100-day. Looks great. 6G or 7G or whatever the hell they're working on. That is bullish, folks. I mean, confirmed. SMH, look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Holding the bottom. Over the 100-day. How high? How high do you want it to go? Honestly, because again, it all just depends on when the news releases. I'm assuming probably sooner than later. Just keep that in mind. Congress has a recess in August. You're gonna want to get it done. All right, here you go. NVDA clearly not leading, so be careful with this one because it's not leading. It's lagging. It's at the 20-day. Remember, the SMH is over the 20-day. This is at the 20-day. I would probably say what? Leave it alone because again, it's not leading. That's why I don't really have an AMD position. I think it's over the 20-day. It's just at it. Yeah, I mean, just play the SMH. Play Soxel. Buy those dips. I mean, if you pick the individual names, they're subject to how earnings are going to be. Just keep that in mind. I like this stuff. I mean, again, you pick the names you want. I just would rather take the individual risk out at that point, right? Let's get into some of the other tech names. Tough to be bearish the market with Apple making higher highs and higher lows. We've said this a lot. We thought Apple off the lows would get into this 150 floor. You got it. Not surprised. Now what? Tougher to guess. When in doubt, what do? We zoom out over the 20-month. 160s max probably, right? That's the next. This is this month. I mean, probably not even till next month. I don't know. I would not be surprised to see Apple hold up, though. That's kind of what you want to see. If Apple starts turning down, be a little bit suspicious, right? That's kind of how I think about it. Meta, you sneaky bugger. You knocked me out right at the channel low and then started popping. Get over the 20-day. Probably get into 170s. Again, I think you go channel low, channel high. And even if not, you have a bounce, at least the 50-day. I mean, it's really that simple. Everyone goes, well, what's your upside target? I don't know. Where's the market at? That's the question ultimately. Keep in mind, that's why we trade leaders. I am going to repeat this concept. Repeat this in the Discord room. Drop a comment below if you're listening and you get this. There's a reason why you trade the leaders. They follow the market. When the market starts acting funny, the leaders start acting funny. When you're trading your AMC and you're trading these penny stocks and you're trading these names that are not large parts of the market, they independently act, which can be good or could be bad. I don't really give a crap. My goal is to obviously follow the flow, go with the tide, go with it, be like water. If the market is going down, leaders will look like they're going to go down soon too. That's just how it works. When you trade things that don't really follow the market, it gets really difficult to predict what they're going to do next. I mean, this is just another basing pattern similar to the market. over the 20-day. Again, this is why I dumped it. It wasn't really leading, but maybe like new core, maybe it turns up. We'll see. We will see. Roblox. Oh, what are you doing, cat? Here we go. This is one we actually been uber bullish on. Here, volume price analysis. Here's the bottom. Here's the higher low. Now we're trending up. This lower trend line really is a little too steep. I mean, you can kind of just, the goal is to stay, you know how in the 20, I always say this, like in the 20 days turning up, it's your friend. When it's not turning down, it's your enemy. Like here, it's kind of got over it, but you got over it. And that's typically what most stocks do. But what's honestly funny is it just hovers around the 20-day a lot. But now that it's above it, which it should be bullish, right? The 20-day should hold approximately. Point being is that's a little too much analysis. It doesn't have to be that deep. What have I said? It's probably going to get bought out, or it's going to flop out. Well, near term, I mean, this action is showing you accumulation, is it not? That's my guess. Because keep in mind, I mean, we were in the what, 150s, 140 something, 140. Now you're at 40. Big beatdown. This company isn't a complete facade. It is probably overpriced, but they do have something where I think they're locking in. I mean, they literally have taught kids how to gamble. Hate it, love it. Is what it is. They'll follow. Tesla, I like it. Not necessarily bullish or bearish in the sense of like, I just like it to hold up. We said what? In the bear market rally, I mean, damn, the thing went freaking nuts. Probably not going to do that. But it's holding up. Again, these are all signs that what? The market's not really bearish, guys. It's basing before it does a little more up move probably, or what? Fails. Let's do some banks, because a lot of people were like, you know, in the Discord, I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you buying Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan? Well, let's go into JP Morgan first, because they were really one of the first banks, right? So what do we notice? Again, remember, on my main computer, I had the charts built. I think you can see there is some sort of channeling going on. Will we not agree? Channel your inner channel. I don't know. I mean, I just pulled one up and drew it. Here you go. All right. There's the low end of the range, right? Would we agree that there's some sort of upward channeling clone going on here? Whatever. Well, let's go out on the monthly, because this is where it gets real interesting. If you notice this area, I know it's pretty a wide swath, but do you see how the bottoms are there? Bottom was there. Here was the tops. Let's just call 103 to 105 basically I mean, I guess 107. It's pretty wide range. Whatever. Mid 100s. Let's average that in. Was the potential bottoming spot? Well, what happened during the last bear market rally with financials? They popped. Double bottom. Boop. Double bottom. Now again, so here's volume price analysis. Again, these signals are not every day, folks. Like if you're thinking like, hey, that today is that signal and this is that what it's telling you honestly is that when there are signals, there are some signals. Here's your first, to me, like red flag. Like that is an accumulation signal. Doesn't mean it doesn't go lower. Here's another little pop long wick. Novice gap, tight doji on earnings. Super tight. Professional gap and up. How high? I'd say 120s somewhere probably. Morgan Stanley. This is another one. This is the one that I'm in personally. JP Morgan popped me out before it went higher, and I didn't really get it. What did I say in the Discord room? What did I post on Twitter? Look at this formation in March. What is probably going to happen? Right? I mean, you can paint it either way. Double bottom. Here you go. First pop, second pop. First pop. Look at the volume coming off the lows, folks. Here was again your anomaly down here. Small action. Big candle. Popped. Came back. Ooh-wee. Now again, maybe it's just short covering. Again, the fundamentals of banks. Terrible. Long term. Terrible. No one's arguing that. Is it due to bounce? I mean, it's just a repeating pattern. I think it's yes. It's a double bottom with a straight line move coming. Each point, so that was 81 up to 92, 11 points. I mean, again, 10 or 15%. What's 10% from 72? Oh, sorry, not 10%. Like, is that 10%? No. No. That's like 15, 20%. Sorry. 15% would take you what? Low 80s? 100 day? Again, I can't tell you for sure if it's getting to 81 or it's going to get to 85. Or maybe it gets to the 2. I have no clue. But what did we know? We bought this today on the professional gap. The more we're up, the less we what? Own. It's a bear market, trader's market. It could just be a reverberation. Clearly. Hold on. Clearly, and he backs it up. Professional gap, zoomer. It lasts 3 days. Professional gap, 2 days, 3 days. I mean, again, I like that this thing is short squeezed. I like the action near term. People are going to be like, banks suck. And it's like, no crap. I knew that. The play is what? Professional gap with volume. When you see a professional gap with volume like this, it's probably not a one-day event. Not a one-day event. Let's see if we can find some more. Novice gap. Ooh, retest. The volume was on the other side of it. Let me see if we have any up moves with professional gaps. Let's go back again. I'm just messing around. I haven't done it. Again, this is a bull market, a little harder. Here you go. A little increasing volume. There's a big monster gap, probably on earnings. Yeah. Whatever. That was a. Ooh, that's the fall. Seasonality of the fall is so bullish, or it's so bearish. It's unreal. Folks that are going to be sticking around will see we open a can of whoop ass certain times of the year, and that's the fall. At that point, with the financials, again, I mean, think about if you bought in the low 70s, mid 70s, whatever. I think it was mid 70s. It was what, 74 or whatever. Where were we at? Oh, I bought the 74 call. If you bought in around 76, pretty solid close. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, roll your stops up. If you got options, be very careful. I like it. I just like it. It might not lead, but it's got potential. All right, we did tech. Let's get into EXPI because, again, every day, fundamentals, I say, don't matter, but people like to argue relentlessly. Company's doing amazing, but it's not at 90, folks. It's at 13. All right. Well, see where. I mean, we talked about you could buy it down here in this tight action with a stop. Not bad if you bought it like 11, got up to 14. Not bad. Probably, I mean, this is the thing. Remember I talked about price correction and time correction? Here's the price correction. Now it's time correcting. I'm going to do a video on that later. But, absolutely brutal. UTHR. What did I tell you, folks? I'm the one telling you, double bottom. Here you go. Here is what? Volume price analysis. Retest. Look at that close. That is bullish as shit. This was a gap down. This was absorbing the volume. This was something. Boom. Went higher. Took time. Ripped on some news, clearly. What did we say? Watch out for a back test. Boom. Watch out. Here comes the monthly uptrend. You should be taking profits. I know it's holding the 20-day, but if you have this stock and you are fully invested right now, you are lucky it hasn't melted on you. I mean, I hope it gets to 250s. And I hope you see that you, at this point, have all to lose and nothing to gain. Oh, but Dan, this isn't fundamentals. Great. Well, guess what? Steep moves are usually followed by consolidation at worst. If it gets bought out, all hands are all that goes out the window. But if it doesn't get bought out, consolidation is coming. Let's end it on oil. Uncle Joe, thank you for finding another 1 million barrels a day, whatever. What do we say? Blowout top, choppy, sloppy, going lower. XOP. Now here you go. Here's where the market holds up and the XOP can do the opposite. You know, we talked about failure. I mean, how much these names bounce, I don't know. But the easy money was this. That. Now it's going to get a little tighter. Think about rubber band man theory. It's going to tighten up. Maybe it explodes a little more. I don't know. I mean, these things actually, they have, I was going to say, we got to be somewhere. Yeah, break out the weekly trend line. I mean, these things can get absolutely smoked at times. Absolutely smoked. Smoked cheddar. What year is this compared to? Nothing of I remember recent. Just watch. It's holding the trend. If it does, probably what? 90s? Maybe even down, see down here in the 70s. I'll short a bounce. We'll get it. XLE. And if we don't, we'll short something else. It's just whatever. It's this lack mindset that you can't find winners later. That's the problem with FOMO. You think you can't ever get it back. XLE, hold the 200 day. Not really that worried. ExxonMobil, we've talked about this. I'd like it in the 70s at some point. Why? Well, you back test the breakout. Here's your little trendo, your main trendo, and yeah, there we go. 70s. That's better. Somewhere in there. No way. Yep. Talked about in professional gap, game over. Heading lower. And now again, every day. This is why it's hard to trade these right now, is I think they're in this shit chop pattern. People want to buy them, but they don't really understand that there will be a time. I'm not going to run through any of the other oil and gas names. They're just kind of boring. And if you got any real estate questions, I won't do the typical rant, but I'm telling you, turn your paper gains into real assets. If you want real estate investing, let me know. Not buy some physical metals, buy something of tangible value that will do well with inflation, because cash is trash. If you don't know that, I don't know what to tell you. Have a great weekend. Stop by the Discord room if you have any questions. If you want, share this with somebody you think will really needs this. I hate when people are just like, oh, I just shared this publicly with the intention of just drawing in people who might not want. Like, that's not the intention. Like, really, somebody out there is struggling. Somebody out there is like, I've been trading, I've lost a lot of money, and I need a change in perspective. That's where usually we can help. Have a great weekend.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.